Imagine waking up knowing that somewhere, right now, someone is planning to kill you. Not out of anger, not out of impulse, but with precision, with patience, with a blueprint. Now imagine your schedule is public, your movements are tracked, your face is recognized by billions, and every handshake, every wave, every speech could be your last. Since 1963, no sitting US president has been assassinated. But that doesn't mean they haven't come close. This is the hidden war fought in silence, the war between assassins, and the shield that stands inches away from history changing forever. For over a century, one agency has carried a burden unlike any other in American government. The responsibility sounds simple when you say it out loud. Keep the President of the United States alive. 5 words. And yet behind those 5 words lies a machinery so vast, so layered, so relentlessly evolving, that even its own agents sometimes struggle to comprehend its full scope. The United States Secret Service was not born to guard presidents. Its original mission had nothing to do with protection at all. It was a financial operation, a unit created in the aftermath of the Civil War to track counterfeiters flooding the American economy with fake currency. But history, as it always does, had other plans. Because on a November afternoon in Dallas, Texas, in 1963, everything changed. John F. Kennedy was assassinated in full public view, in a motorcade, surrounded by agents, in a city that had been prepared for his arrival. And in the wreckage of that moment, the Secret Service's identity was shattered and rebuilt from the ground up. Protection was no longer a formality. It became survival. And survival, over the decades that followed, became something closer to obsession. The morning of September 11th, 2001 began like any other presidential visit. George W. Bush was sitting inside a Florida elementary school classroom, surrounded by second graders learning to read aloud. It was a carefully planned appearance, warm, approachable, deliberately human. The cameras were rolling. The mood was light. The world knew exactly where the president was. And then, without warning, the world stopped. A plane struck the North Tower of the World Trade Center. At first, confusion. An accident, perhaps, a terrible, inexplicable accident. Then the second plane hit.
Came in like a missile, like a fireball missile across from the New York harbor side, I guess from the Newark direction. It came in like a spear. It just speared through the building.
And in that instant, every agent in that building understood something that would redefine American security forever. This was not an accident. Inside the protective detail, urgency detonated like a shockwave. Was the president a target? Was this part of a coordinated strike? Was Florida the next location on someone's list? Political aides urged restraint. Cameras were still rolling. Children were still watching. But security demanded one thing and one thing only: movement. For 7 long minutes, the president remained seated in that classroom while America realized it was under attack. 7 minutes that would be studied, debated, and dissected for years to come. Because those 7 minutes exposed a terrifying truth that the agency had never fully confronted. The Secret Service had been built, trained, and optimized to stop lone gunmen. It had not been built for modern warfare. It had not been built for coordinated, multi-target, geopolitical attacks executed with military precision against the most powerful nation on Earth. After September 11th, nothing stayed the same. Emergency powers were expanded in ways the public never fully learned. The political staff, The communications directors, the schedulers, the aides who had long held influence over presidential movements could no longer override evacuation decisions. Protective operations were woven directly into counter-terrorism strategy at the highest levels of government. And 18 months after the towers fell, the Secret Service was moved under the newly formed Department of Homeland Security. Protection had become something new. It was no longer purely defensive, it had become preemptive war. Today, the threats are no longer predictable. They no longer arrive in a single recognizable shape. They don't just emerge from crowds pressing against rope lines or from disgruntled men with grievances and handguns. They come from rooftops with long-range precision rifles. They come from encrypted online forums where radicalization happens slowly, quietly, invisible to the naked eye. They come from 3D printers producing untraceable weapons that no metal detector can find. They come from drones, consumer drones, commercial drones, modified drones, hovering silently in the airspace above a rally, above a motorcade, above a rose garden ceremony. The agency built specialized divisions in response, units dedicated entirely to airspace security, scanning the sky above every presidential appearance with technology that didn't exist a generation ago. Every movement the president makes now unfolds inside invisible layers of surveillance, counterintelligence, advance work, and contingency planning that most Americans will never see and never know existed. Even the most advanced security system on Earth cannot eliminate one possibility: the threat from within. When the president steps into the armored limousine known as the Beast, layers of protection move with him. Counter-snipers on rooftops, encrypted communications, secure perimeters, intelligence teams monitoring threats in real time. It is one of the most sophisticated protective operations in the world. But the most dangerous risk is not always outside the barricades. It's the one no one wants to imagine: a betrayal from inside the circle of trust. An insider would not need to breach a gate. He would already be past it. He would not need to earn access. He would already have it. That possibility, however rare, is why counterintelligence inside the United States Secret Service is relentless. Loyalty is never assumed. It is continuously verified. Background checks are not a one-time event. Monitoring does not stop after hiring, because modern threats are not always loud. They are often patient, calculated, embedded. After 9/11, the Secret Service expanded dramatically. It moved under the Department of Homeland Security. It gained broader intelligence access, larger budgets, and greater authority. But expansion came with pressure. During the administrations of George W. Bush and Barack Obama, internal scandals shook public confidence. Oversight failures made headlines. Morale dropped. At the same time, threats increased. President Obama reportedly faced a significantly higher volume of threats than many of his predecessors. The job itself is punishing. Agents operate on broken sleep cycles and constant travel. They miss holidays, birthdays, ordinary family moments that never return. Many leave for higher-paying private security roles, taking years of experience with them. The agency must constantly rebuild, balancing seasoned veterans with newly trained recruits. And yet one fact stands above all of it. Since 1963, no sitting US president has been assassinated. There have been close calls. In 2024, at a campaign rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, Donald Trump narrowly survived an assassination attempt. Questions followed immediately. How was that angle missed? How did the threat get that close? Agents were suspended, leadership shifted, investigations began. Weeks later, another attempted attack again tested the system. Every incident becomes a lesson. Every failure becomes a reform. Every near miss becomes a warning. Because in this profession, failure is not measured in headlines, it is measured in history. People often ask what the real secret of the Secret Service is. Is it the armored vehicles, the counter-sniper teams, the encrypted radios and surveillance systems, or the thousands of hours of training, drills repeated until instinct overrides panic? The truth may be simpler and quieter. You don't hear about most of the plots that never mature. You don't see the threats intercepted before they form. You don't witness the moments, and there have been many, when history almost changed, when inches and seconds stood between stability and chaos, and someone was already in position. Maybe that is the real secret. Not the attacks that reshaped America, but the ones that almost did. If you found this investigation valuable, like the video, share it with someone who values truth, and subscribe to stay informed. Every view tells us this work matters, and to us, it does.